Tonight at approximately 9:13, officers responded to 2818 Shining Willow Terrace in reference to a domestic disturbance. We received multiple calls on this incident. Officers made contact with a black male, 26-year-old, on the porch area outside the house. Officers noticed the male had a visible gun in his pocket. Officers gave verbal commands to the suspect to not touch the gun. The suspect disobeyed the commands, jumped a fence that was near him, and ran. Officers stopped his escape by cutting him off. Officers gave verbal commands again to the suspect to get on the ground and not reach for the gun. He refused. Officers tased the suspect. The gun fell into the ground. The suspect then pulled the taser prongs out. The suspect reached for his gun that was on the ground near him, disobeying the verbal commands. As a result, both officers shot the suspect. At that time, officers attempted life-saving measures on the suspect. The suspect was pronounced at the scene dead. The suspect was a convicted felon who had been arrested multiple times. He was previously arrested for battery, domestic violence, resisting an officer with violence, battery on a law enforcement officer, and armed robbery. As with all officer-involved shootings, FDLE will conduct the investigation. At this time, I'll take any of your questions.
This person has had previous charges involving resisting an officer and battery on an officer. In cases like this, can you talk about what these officers put their lives on the line every day when they have situations like this and how they have to kind of think quickly in scenarios like this?
Yeah, so officers have to make split-second decisions. Officers put their life on the line every night going out here to protect our city. They do a great job of it. But like in this incident, when somebody has a gun on them, everything is heightened. Everything is, for them, it's going a mile a minute. They have to make split-second decisions. This suspect, he turned, he ran. They gave him more verbal commands. He refused the verbal commands. The gun fell into the ground once he was tased. He was given a chance again to lay down on the ground and to give up. He chose to reach out and reach for the gun very quickly, and the two officers were forced to shoot him. So it's unfortunate this incident had to happen.
Chief, did you say multiple calls came in about this domestic situation? How many?
Yes, we had 3 calls that came into us from different people. We believe 1 was from inside the house and 2 were from other people. Not sure if they were neighbors or people. There were people outside, so not sure who actually was the ones who placed the calls. But we actually met with a female who was inside. The first officer went in and talked to the female. Then he came back out when the other officer realized the guy outside was armed.
You mentioned his previous record. Were there ever previous calls to this specific address for similar situations?
I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of his arrest, because he did have arrest on November 14th, which was for domestic violence and battery on a law enforcement officer. But we're not sure where that happened at. We're still researching that, so we'll let you know.
I know you said there were calls coming in about this, but can you talk more about what led up to this and the incident that happened leading up to showing up with seeing him on the porch?
So basically all the calls came in, said there was a loud disturbance, a domestic disturbance, people arguing, a male and female who were arguing inside the house, and that's what brought us there. But we got multiple calls, which is good. We're glad people call in to help their neighbors, to help their fellow people, fellow residents. We want you to call in. Definitely call in and give it a chance for us to get there, because who knows what could have happened if we didn't respond to this call.
I know it's like split-second decisions. Was he on the ground when he was shot, or was he trying to run, or was he on the ground reaching for a gun?
So he pulled out the prongs and then he bent down to reach the gun. So he pulled out the prongs, sort of jumped up and reached for the gun.
Just for a clearer timeline, can you repeat the time of the first few calls you received and the time of the incident?
So the call started coming in, I'm assuming, right about 8:45, 9 o'clock from when it was given. The officers got there at 9:13.
Can this be a dangerous situation for the community if someone is running away and jumping fences and other situations in a neighborhood?
Yeah, most definitely. When somebody's armed like that and already resisting the police, running, I mean, he could have shot at the officers. Obviously, he was reaching for his gun. He could have shot at the officers. I mean, the officers who are shooting back and split-second decisions, we hope the rounds go in the right place, but all the bullets don't always go in the right place. So anytime you get in a situation like this when people are shooting, it's dangerous for the whole community.
Any word on the mental health history of this guy? Like, it sounds like a very manic situation, potentially, but you guys know.
Not at this time. We'll have all that when we get the full history, when we release it. Once we identify him, we're not identifying him right now because the next of kin has not been notified.
The incident in the house, do you know who the yelling was between? Was it a girlfriend or somebody else?
No, that'd be a part of the investigation. There was a female in the house, and then he was outside of the house, but there were also other people present, so we're not even sure if he was the one who we were there for. It never got that far.
How is that female in the house? How is she doing now? Is she been taken to the station? Is she seeking any medical treatment? How is she?
I don't think we took anybody from the scene. We talked to everybody. We're doing interviews, and of course, after Lee was doing the investigation, do interviews on all that, but there was no one else who was hurt.